Hey everybody, I'm back with chapter 3 of Papi's life. The story of Aaron Preemo Beltran, a rapper from Texas, written by myself, Aaron McKrell. So if you're just joining us on this journey, there are videos where I read previous chapters from this book. Feel free to check those out. And otherwise, let's dive in. The photo for this chapter is courtesy of Jerry Rodriguez, aka DJ Nasty Boy. And you see Preemo right with DJ Nasty Boy in the early 2000s. Chapter 3. Not only were they not fronting money, but they weren't down with the vision. Trillion on Preemo's music industry situation. Preemo eventually changed the spelling of his moniker to Preemo due to copyright issues. Before that, he spent a few years burning up Dallas with sizzling bars and a silky flow. He won 4 straight freestyle competitions on Dallas's 97.9 The Box before the station retired him from participating. When Preemo told his old DJ about the buzz, Nasty Boy didn't hesitate to sell his house in South Texas and move to Dallas to work with him. That's just how much I believed in him, Nasty Boy said. Nasty Boy did more than DJ in Dallas. He sent Preemo's music to Mike Quinn, an industry acquaintance who was working for a prominent radio promotion company called National Music Marketing, NMM. Mike had already been interested in Preemo and liked what he heard, so he flew to Dallas to sign him to a deal. Preemo and Nasty Boy didn't hesitate to link with a radio promotion company given the climate of the early 2000s. Back then, it's literally radio, Nasty Boy said. You gotta be on the radio. But suspicions arose shortly after Preemo signed the deal and flew to Los Angeles in September 2001. NMM President Joe Grossman assigned Mike to manage Preemo. As Mike was an employee of NMM, this created a conflict of interest, as managers are meant solely to look out for their artists' best interests. I thought that was a little funny, Nasty Boy said. On top of that, NMM received the majority of Preemo's publishing money to get his songs on the radio. It's this or nothing, Preemo recalled being told. And so I took it, but I knew what it was. The bigger issue came when it was time to record his debut album, The Arrival, which was set to drop on the short-lived Illicit Music Records. Preemo wanted Atlanta beatsmith Kingpin and Trillion, who was signed to MCA Records, to produce his album. But Preemo said his company's executives wanted creative control and didn't want to pay outside producers for beats. Instead, they linked him with a producer whose beats Preemo hated, and he grew frustrated at his company's demand that he compromise his lyrics for mainstream appeal. I never play it for anybody, Preemo said at The Arrival. It's terrible. Nevertheless, NMM got his songs on a handful of radio stations across the nation. Preemo released 2 singles, Keep It Movin' and Hotel Room, both of which featured popular R&B singer Amanda Perez. Preemo hopped on the remixes to Perez's hit song Angel, and the 2 were sent on tour across the country. He came out on the remix and everything was starting to fall into place, Nasty Boy said. They opened for superstars like Ja Rule, Fat Joe, and Biz Markie, but they performed for free, with Preemo receiving an $800 per month living stipend. Though Nasty Boy later learned that performing for free was standard industry practice for new artists, that didn't change the fact that Preemo had a family to feed. While Terry was worried about paying the rent, Nikki missed his presence. She recalled when Preemo sent her a beautiful Chinese tea set and doll from LA. Though she was grateful, she'd have rather had her dad than any number of gifts. I wish he was there more, or I was there more, Nikki said. Out on the road, tensions mounted as the company booked $800 per night hotel rooms with open bars, which Preemo and Nasty Boy saw as misdirected expenses. Some stuff just didn't seem right to me, Nasty Boy said. Not that they didn't make the most of those perks. They regularly cleared out open bars and once returned a company-funded rental car on a spare tire with both bumpers dented. The company was furious. I ain't gonna lie, we were acting like idiots out on the road, Nasty Boy said. But Preemo was past the point of caring. I had a chip on my shoulder the whole time because I knew how sideways the situation was, he said. In desperate need of cash, Preemo independently booked a show in Brownsville for several $1,000s. He gave Joe and Mike a heads up not to set up any shows that night, but they booked him anyway with 24 hours notice. Preemo said he wasn't going. Joe gave him an ultimatum. Be at the airport in 1 hour or get dropped from his deal. Preemo showed up in Brownsville that night and made between $6 and $7 grand, but he paid a steep price for his defiance. His songs were yanked from rotation at stations across the nation. He was promptly dropped from the company 2 weeks after The Arrival was released and just before the company was set to ink a deal for him with Universal Records. Preemo figured he could ride the wave that started while on tour and build his own buzz. but without a proper team around him, his momentum came to a halt. Despite his family pressures at the time, Preemo reflected on his decision as another example of focusing on the immediate. What if I hadn't taken that paid show and kept on doing free promo shows?